Confident Stock podcast is brought to you by My Evergreen Med Spa. Located in Houston in the Woodlands, My Evergreen Med Spa brings to you the latest aesthetic treatments in the most luxurious environment. Remember, My Evergreen Med Spa, it's me time elevated. Welcome to the Confident Stock Podcast. I'm Dr. Rednam. I am a board-certified plastic surgeon in Houston, Texas with my Houston surgeons. And I am very happy to welcome a former guest back on. I'm sure many of you are familiar with her, but thank you so much for being back on the show, Tonya Spanglow.
Thanks for having me. I could not wait for today's meetup.
So many of you follow Tonya online, but even when I first got to have her on the podcast, we were just beginning at our journey. And Tonya, just for those of you listeners who may not know you, can you kind of tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm a 47-year-old grandma, wife, and content creator. That's what I do for a living, full time now. And I've lost 287 pounds, and it's taken me about 6.5 years to get from 430 pounds to 143 where I am today. And you've been a big part of that. You've done 2 skin removals for me. I've had gastric sleeve. I've used the help of a GLP-1, lots of tools, lots of things, trial and error. But yeah, and so that's kind of my spiel. That's making a very long story short. So
how did you come to start doing content creation during your weight loss journey?
Well, so it was during COVID. And so I had my mom living with us, and she had Alzheimer's. My dad had passed away from a stroke, and I had my grandbaby 5 days a week. And I had not lost the bulk of my weight yet. I was still very heavy, and it was hard. Like COVID, we couldn't go anywhere. We were trapped inside the house. My mom, her Alzheimer's was progressing, and I needed an out, and I downloaded TikTok. I already had Facebook, but that was not really where that was just like sharing and keeping up with family and friends and things like that. But I downloaded TikTok, and that was when it was kind of known as it was a kids app. It was a teenagers app back then. And so I remember my husband saying, TikTok, what? Isn't that for the teenagers? And I was like, I don't know, but it's fun. Back then, it was more so like I got on there and watched transformations. I got on there and watched recipes. People were cooking, and that was right. That's my jam. I love to cook, love to make drinks. I always have. And I started posting. I got brave one day, and I posted how to do sugar-free Kool-Aid grapes. And that was like the first thing I ever posted. I didn't show my face. I didn't even use my own voice because I thought no one would want to hear an Oklahoma accent, So I did a voiceover, told them how to do it. And it performed fairly well because I don't even think I had like 30 followers at that time. And so I just started posting. And I remember one day I shared a transformation. And I think at the time, I might have been down 100 pounds. I can't remember. And it took off and went viral. And people were like, "What? This is you?" We had no idea. Like, why don't you show your face? And all we've seen is your hands and this squeaky little voiceover that you keep using for these recipes that you're posting. And so I stopped doing the voiceover. I started showing who I am, started talking to the camera, and it just spiraled from there. I shared transformation after transformation. Every time I would do a non-scale victory, I would share it. Lots of recipes, lots of waters, lots of coffees, all kinds, and eventually that's evolved into me just basically sharing my life on the internet now. I do lots of get ready with me's and daily blogs, and it's evolved into fashion and makeup. And it's kind of like I've grown so much since I first started and wouldn't even show myself. And then like this morning, the video I posted, I was in a sports bra and leggings, and I'm just talking like I'm talking to my absolute best friend. It's like a FaceTime. And I get that comment a lot. Lots of people are like, you know why we love you? Because it's like we're talking on a FaceTime to somebody that we've actually known like our whole life. And that's the content that I follow. I follow people who share the same kind of content that I share because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to connect and have like genuine connections with people. And so that's why I'm trying to just like not change up my content, but just stay true to who I am. But also the people have watched me evolve. I was live earlier in the pickup line. I pick up my grandbaby from school and I go live in the afternoons. And I had someone say, I've been with you the whole time, but I don't ever comment. But I have to say, like, one thing about you is you are so relatable and you've always been the same person, like from the time you started until now, but you just look different. Like you look completely different, but you're still the same Tonya. And that made my heart swell because I hope so, I hope that I can stay true to me, but at the same time, growth. I mean, that's what I'm on this journey for. I'm not on this journey to stay the same. I'm on this journey so that I can grow and evolve and become the person I've kind of always been meant to be, I feel like. And I feel like I'm there. And so that feels good.
And I know there's been a lot of positives that have come from it. Have there been any negatives that have come from like the growth that you've had in becoming the big influencer?
Lots of negative, lots of positive, a little bit of negative. Of course, you're going to have people that want to do it, but don't know how. And then they're kind of mad that you're doing it and they can't. Lots of brand deals come with content creating. That's how you make your money, is your brand deals. And so, I've had a couple of people be like, well, if you wouldn't have put that code on there, I would have ordered. Well, I'm like, well, this is what I do for a living, And so the code, I make commission off the code. And that's how you pay your bills the same way I pay my bills. It's just a different line of work. It's still work. And so I have had people be like, stop sharing so many codes, so you do have to mix it up. I do try to find, like, every day. I don't want to post shoppable content. I want to just stay true to, I was posting, I'll get on there and go live and I'll walk and people walk with me and there's nothing to shop while you do that. Sharing my drinks, sharing my recipes. That's just things that come straight from my heart that I love to share with other people. There's nothing shoppable about that. If they want to get those products, that can, but they don't have to. And then, of course, I do have, brand deals that I sign. I have dates and contracts, and just like everybody else. And so I do mix in my content, not shoppable with the shoppable, not sponsored with the sponsored. And I do feel like some people don't do that, and their content just gets monotonous, like the same thing over and over, buy, sell.
Yeah.
And I've even found myself unfollowing people that I thought I loved, and then their content changes and it's all just sponsored content. And that's a shame, and so I try to make sure I mix it up. I try to still be me, still go live, still walk with people, because that's kind of how we started. We walk in my driveway. There's a big group of us that do that every morning. And so I'm back to that now that I'm 8 weeks into recovery. And I had people every day while I was recovering, when can we walk again? And I was like, well, I hope that y'all are walking. Like, just because I'm not walking doesn't mean that you can't walk. Like, by all means, please walk, And I had people be like, I haven't walked since you've walked. And I was like, oh, like it's like a responsibility. It really is. When you're in the weight loss world and you're a weight loss influencer, it is a responsibility. You do feel like you have a responsibility to the people that if they're counting on you to go live every morning so that they walk and you're their motivation, there is a huge responsibility that comes with that if you can't do it, because I've been in recovery. And so I did feel bad that I couldn't do that. But they understand. But yeah, you're going to get negative comments. Every day somebody's going to pop off and say something negative. Like with my surgery, my skin removal, my latest one that I've had several people be like, well, you're not a big girl anymore, so I'm going to go find a big girl to follow. Well, you don't know what it's like to be overweight anymore, so now I don't relate to you because I'm still overweight. And I try to find those comments, and I will actually reply to those before I reply to another one, just to say, like, if you think I've forgotten for 1 second what it feels like to be 430 pounds, you're dead wrong. I will never forget what it felt like. Like, I lived it. I lived it every day. It wasn't, I was watching transformations like people are now watching my transformation. I was the one that was on the couch eating the Funyuns and drinking in the Coke while I was watching people lose weight on the internet or on TV. Like, I would watch The Biggest Loser. I would watch Oprah, and she would share transformations and all kinds of things. And I was just basically eating myself to death, watching these people lose weight and wanted to, but didn't know how. And now people are watching me. So, like, I will never forget where I came from. I will never forget what it felt like to be morbidly obese and barely breathe and couldn't tie your shoes. I do understand that. I don't want to say jealous, but there's a factor that comes in. People are like, well, not everyone can afford these surgeries, or not everyone can take the time off work for these surgeries. Well, like I said earlier to you, I really do find that there is no medium. Like, you're either happy for people or you're not. And if you find yourself not being happy for someone who's thriving, I'm thriving right now. And so if you find yourself being not happy for someone who's thriving, that's a you problem. That's something you need to work on. For me, I watch people still every day. I just watched a woman today, and she's about to have her first skin. I don't know who she is from Adam, and she doesn't know me. And I commented on her post, and I was like, girl, yes, do it. Do not let anything hold you back. She's 43, and she's going to get her first skin removal. I love to watch people thrive. I love to watch people grow. I love to watch people transform their own lives. And so I think if you ever find yourself watching someone and you're either jealous or you're envious or you think like, oh, well, look at her, that's really a you problem. Like, that's something you need to work on. I never find myself like the lady today that's a perfect stranger. I was like, I cannot wait to see your, like, I just followed you. She's a complete stranger. Cannot wait to see your transformation. Like, I know how it feels to be in this body I'm in now, as opposed to the one I was in before. And I want that for everyone. Like, I don't want to be like, look at me, look at me, look at me. I want to be like, look at us. Like, look at what we can do, you know? So yeah, as many people as I can motivate, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep shouting it from the mountaintop that it's never too late and you're never too old, because I'm kind of, what's happened is I'm tripping up on 50 now. So I'm 47. And so I am considered, like, if you're talking about the content creation world, I'm in the older group now. When I first started, I was kind of in that medium group. Well, now I'm like, I'm appealing to the older crowd, and I'm okay with that, because I think you appeal to the people that are your same age, and that's fine. But so that's a new message that I can share. Like, it's never too late and you're never too old. If you want to take your life back, do it, you know? And that's exactly what I told the lady today. And she commented right back and she was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you I know who, like, I've watched your whole story. I cannot believe that you commented on my video. And I was just like, I'm just like you. Like, I'm just a woman out here trying to be the best I can be, you know?
And I mean, I have ladies and gentlemen from their 20s or 70s, right? I mean, it is never too late to get healthy. And it is hard. It is hard. I understand skin removal may not always be in the cards for everybody, but I can tell you first and foremost, not everybody who gets skin removal done is rich beyond means. A lot of people have to figure out ways to save over time, and it's possible. It may not be all at once, but it's possible. And I think I 100% agree with you. I'd rather cheer people on and be happy, because otherwise it just eats away at you to be always just kind of jealous and picking on other people with it. Question I have for you is, do you feel like, since you have lived your life as a bigger person and now you're living your life as the smaller person, do you feel like people who don't know you, like, do you feel like people treat you differently in general?
1,000,000%.
Outside of social media.
No, 1,000,000%. They do. Skinny privilege is a real thing. And I can't even call myself skinny. I said that the other day in a video and people were like, what are you talking about? You are skinny. It's so surreal to me when I look in the mirror. I don't see the 430-pound Tonya every day, but she does rear her head. I do when I look in the mirror. Of course, it's just natural to kind of pick out your flaws instead of like the positive, even though I've tried to train my brain to see the good. But people definitely treat you different, which it makes me sad. And it also makes me, as someone who's been morbidly obese, I will seek out the morbid obese person in the room and go sit by them or stand by them or talk to them if I'm at a wedding, if I'm at a doctor's office, if I'm at the grocery store or whatever, because I know what it's like and no one's paying attention to them. And that was me. Like, I always felt alone. I always felt I was in the way. I always felt like, go ahead and go before me in the line, and I'll always go last. Or I felt like someone was looking at me, if I was at the grocery store in particular, looking at me of like, what's in her buggy? Because that's what I don't want to buy. Like, that's what not to buy. It's in her buggy, you know? Or at a restaurant, people are watching you eat and they're watching what you're going to eat and how fast you eat. And even in a small town, that's here in my small town that I live in. No one does that to me now. No one's looking in my buggy at the grocery store. No one's looking to see what I'm eating. People are holding the doors for me. People are saying hello. They're waving. They're smiling. That never happened before. Like, no one, it was almost, and a lot of times I was the biggest in the room. A lot of times I was always the biggest mom at the school when my kids had Christmas parties and ball games. I was always the biggest mom at the field, at the ball court, on the football field, the baseball field, the classroom, always the biggest. No one ever paid attention. No one held the door for me. I mean, in a small town, I would have people that I would talk back and forth, and we were like the mom friends because we cooked for the football boys or whatever. I would have those friends, but as far as people outside that small circle I had, I wasn't paid attention to. I wasn't like nobody did those things. And so definitely now that I've lost weight, you definitely get treated. I've had men hit on me and I'm like held my wedding ring up. Like, what are you even? I have not been hit on since I was 15 and it's with my husband. Like, I don't get hit on. And so it's something I'm not used to. Even my husband would be like, he's flirting with you. And I'm like, he is not flirting with me. And he was like, yes, he is. I just am so like, I'm not the one to get flirted with. I'm not the one that gets the door held for her. I'm not the one that gets smiled at. I'm not the one that the receptionist is nice to. Like, I'm not the one because I was big and I was kind of repulsive and people are disgusted with overweight people. And I've lived that life. And so that I can say that out loud and know that it's true because I have literally felt like people were disgusted by me, which is super sad. So yes, 1,000,000%. Now that I'm in a smaller body, I am treated 100% different. And that makes me super sad.
That's so hard too, because you're still the same person that you were before, right? Like,
I
it's
am.
like, but like, it's like, and no one got to really fully see who you are and your sparkling personality, but it's because they're too busy with their biases, right?
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not sure how and when that's going to change. I know that there's a lot of people out there really trying to talk about things, and people will often say that as a plastic surgeon, how can I talk about body positivity? But I have every type of patient, and what we do, I'm not trying to fix anything really, right? The goal is that you had an issue that literally was causing you problems, but you had already fixed what you needed to fix for yourself, right? And so I think that you can be body positive in any shape or form. It's really more about how you feel inside.
No, I think you should be. Yeah, I wish that when I was 430 pounds, I wish I wouldn't have let my weight hold me back because now I know it didn't have to. Like now that
Hmm.
as I've lost weight along the years, I have realized that it was a me problem. I held myself back. Now, granted, the world does treat you different, but I could have worn a swimsuit and been completely happy. I could have worn shorts and a tank top at 430 pounds. I was too self-conscious, and that's a me problem. If you're self-conscious about your weight, it isn't the world that's keeping you from wearing a tank top and shorts and a bikini and going on vacation and going on all the things with your grandkids and your kids and your husband. That's you. That's your subconscious. That's your self-conscious. Or for me, it was. And so I realize that now, and I wish I would have been happier as an overweight person. And I think it would have changed things, but I just wasn't. I was miserable. And plus, I think being in a smaller town even made it worse because everybody knows everybody. Does that make sense? And so like
Yeah.
everyone knew if I was invited, well, I couldn't get in the pool because I couldn't get out of it. Or they can't invite us to Six Flags because I can't fit on the rides. Or, you know what I mean? And so I feel like
Yeah.
living in a small town just made that a lot bigger for me because everyone knew my weight held me back. And it did. And
Yeah.
I let it, but it didn't have
Well,
to.
and what would you say to someone who, a lot of people get really scared thinking about skin removal, right?
Hmm.
They're like, and there are even people who are scared about losing the weight because then that might mean that they may decide to have these other surgeries. Like, what's your advice that you give to somebody who's in that position?
Do it. Do not let that fear hold you back because here's what you have to make. You have to decide. You have to make a choice. Let's say we wake up today. Are we going to stay miserable in our body that we're in now? Because we are. At 430 pounds, I was miserable every day. And that's a very, very hard life. Just to tie my shoes, I was out of breath. Forget going and getting in the car and I couldn't fit the seatbelt around me. So I broke the law every day because I couldn't even wear my seatbelt because it wouldn't fit. And then trying to get out of the car, let's just say I was picking my kids up from school. Like all of that, that obese life is so hard. So to think over here on this side, I'm not going to lose weight because that's hard too. No, staying over here at this 430 pound weight, it was crippling to me. I didn't really care if I lived or died at that moment. I was like, I could have a heart attack any day. I was out of breath 24/7. And so, yes, is it hard to lose the weight? And it's hard. For me, I didn't really think about the loose skin. I just wanted to lose weight so that I could walk and move around and be healthier because I had a grandbaby. My grandbaby was 6 months old when I started all this. And now she's 6. And it's so funny because we have a picture in the bedroom of her mom's and my daughter Kylie's wedding day. And so I'm really big in that picture. I think I was 400 pounds in that photo, around 420, 410, somewhere in there. And I have a big hump on my back. I'm hunched over and I'm hugging Kylie, and they've blown the picture up and made a big, the big photos, the small woods or whatever they're called that you make of them. Mila, when she was like 3, she would walk in there and she would look at that picture and then she would look at me And she would look at that picture and she would say, "Big JoJo?" Like, she doesn't know because I'm never big like that. And so now,
Yeah.
like, looking back at it, I wanted to lose weight years and years before I finally did something about it. I wanted to do something about it, I thought. But now looking back at it, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, or I would have done it. And so did having a grandbaby and my mom got sick after my dad passed away, I had to take care of my mom. Did all of that scare me kind of into losing weight? You know, I would envision taking Mila to the park and I couldn't chase after her if she got away from me. Yes, that all kind of spiraled all of this. It's kind of where all that started for me. But had I not done that, I would not be living the life I'm living today. And to me, that's a scarier thought. To me, not being able to get in the floor and roll around and play Barbies and pop right back up and run the bases at the baseball game. We can play a little game of baseball in the front yard and I can run. And to me, thinking of not having that life is scarier than staying overweight. Like, I would give anything to have the life that I have now, you know? And so it's like you have to make that decision of, I know it sounds cliche. People say choose your hard. You really do. Because being in that 430-pound body, and every day being with I was depressed. I was at all-time lows. Every day something would happen to make me hate myself more or hate my body more. And none of that happens now. You know, it's like my whole perspective on life has changed. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, people still are horrible. People can still be atrocious. You know, they can. But you have to just see past all that. And so now my perspective on life, when I wake up, I'm just so grateful to be alive and be able to get out of bed and walk down the hallway, make my coffee, start my days, and I'm not out of breath. You know, like, I can breathe free, like I can take a deep breath. I feel like I could never take a deep breath before. And so it's all of those moments every day that make you be thankful and grateful just to be in this smaller body. And it took a lot of work. And it took you, but it took a lot of work to get here. And so I think if I had someone standing in front of me that was like, you know, one something that I can tell them to make them do it is way more worth it than what you ever could even imagine. Like, you can't even imagine it until you do it. I never knew that this life was possible. I never knew people woke up every day and were grateful just to be alive. I never knew you could wake up and be happy all day, every day.
How do you imagine something that you haven't lived, right?
Yeah, you've never lived it. And so you don't even really realize it until you're out of it, how miserable you actually were. You don't even really realize it until you're out of it, you know?
So let me ask you this. I actually don't think I've ever asked you this before, but you've now had the 2 different skin removals. Was it what you expected? Was it easier? Was it harder? Like, really, like, you know, everybody comes into thinking, no matter what I say or anybody, your plastic surgeon would say to you, there's still your experience of it. So what would you say, like, your honest experience was of it? Based
So
on
the
what you
first
thought it would
surgery,
be?
I would say completely different. The surgeries were completely different. And people are asking me that every day on the internet. As I'm sharing this recovery journey I'm on, every day somebody asks me that. What's worse? Which one would you do all over again? I would do both over again tomorrow if I had to. The first one, I would say I wasn't prepared for how hard that one was going to be. You had told me, and I had visited with people who had the surgery that I was getting. Nothing can prepare you for when you first have to cough or sneeze and that muscle, like, you need to sneeze or cough. So many things, like, that was a very hard recovery. So the second one, now granted, there's no muscle repair with my arms and my thighs. So the second one, plus I'd already had one. And so I felt like I was kind of a pro, and though I just had one, but the second surgery was nothing compared to the first one. Nothing compared to it. It was not that it was a breeze by any means. And another thing too is, you know, I struggled with the decision. I was just going to get my thighs, or I was just going to get my arms. I wasn't going to do both. If I would not have done both now, I would be so mad, because I think what happens is one takes your mind off the other. You know, like, there would be days where my arms were sore and my thighs weren't necessarily hurting. And then there would be days where my thighs were so sore and tight. And so my arms were I was oblivious to where they were hurting or not. And so they kind of counteracted each other. And so one kind of took out the other. And so I'd be so mad if I would still have to have my arms done or my thighs. I'm so glad I did that together. But yeah, I would say the first surgery, I just wasn't prepared because I had never had a surgery like that before. It's completely doable. I would do it again tomorrow if I had to. But then the second one, I feel like I was more prepared because I'd already had a first one the year before, and it was nothing compared to the first one. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say for that.
And I would say that's been most of my patient's experiences. Like once you've kind of had that, you're like, okay. But I mean, I think the key though with that first surgery was that you still had a lot of people helping you. Like
Oh, for
I just
sure.
think it would have been too hard because I have people who try to do this themselves and it's just, you need people to help
Oh,
you.
you can't. There's no way I could not. There's no way on both of mine. I had to have people. Like there's no way I could do it by myself. Yeah.
Well, so you've achieved a whole lot, right? So like
Hmm.
you took back your life and I love your handle taking my life back at
Thank
42.
you.
Like I mean it's pretty much straightforward what you did.
Hmm.
You know, you've created this really amazing career for yourself now. So what's the future for Tanya? Like what are you looking forward to continuing growing in this space?
Well, it's funny. And so I'm looking forward to, I've evolved. Like I did not care about clothes or hair or makeup before. And now I do. And it's the craziest thing how you evolve into that. And even my husband came in, he was like, you are getting so ready for this. Like he's still not used to me getting ready like all the time. So I'm looking for more like brand deals as that aspect goes, like more clothing. Like I'm working with Walmart right now, and so I'm excited about that because Walmart's huge, you know. And so I'm just like Walmart. They sought me out, and I was like, what? And so it's exciting. And so yeah, I'm looking for things like that. I want to continue the podcast I have with Teresa. We're going to kind of be in our third season of that, and so we're revamping that. We're coming up with a new name, a new background. More so turning that into not just our transformation journeys, but like all around life. And so just kind of talking about, we want it to be like best friends, just chatting it up that she lives in
Yeah.
Idaho and I'm in Oklahoma, you know? And I think that a lot of women can relate to that. People who
Hmm.
they've transformed, and then our lives have also transformed and we've evolved. We're not just,
Hmm.
we're more than weight loss. We're more than skin removal. We're more than just
Absolutely.
a transformation journey. There's like the sky's the limit for that. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. And yeah, of course, I'm just on socials every day. I look for people who need to be inspired, and I hope I'm inspiring them. I really do. I hope that I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off, you know? I mean, as long as they'll let me inspire them, I'll keep on trying to motivate others and make them drink their water and make some protein coffee, and let's make something good to eat, you know? And it's a lot lower carb and less calories than it used to be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just continuing what I'm doing now, but just bigger and better, you know?
Well, I hope you continue it for a long time because, like I said, just from the people that I've gotten to know who follow you, like you do inspire them. And anyone can scroll through comments on any of your posts and see how much it means to people, you know, because if, like you said, you couldn't imagine what it'd be like to feel like you do now. And I
Mm-hmm.
really think that you've given a lot of people a glimpse into that. So maybe they couldn't imagine it just like you couldn't, but they see you do it. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe that can be my reality too.
No, that's so true because like I just got that comment on Instagram today. A woman just said that today. Like she was like, I've been down and out, and she's gained like 20 pounds back. And she wrote a whole book, you know, in the comment section. And she was just like, I was down and out. I don't know where to turn. And every single day, she was like, I've never been this motivated by a perfect stranger in my life. And so, and I'm sure, I mean, it's not just me. There are millions of people motivating others out there. But yeah, and so I think that that's a great thing that you can come on the internet, and you have your phone in your hand anyways, and you're getting motivated by somebody, whether they're a stranger or someone you feel like you know. I think it's a great thing. So thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you all so much for joining me on this episode of The Confident Stock. It was so wonderful having Tanya on. She has now been our longest standing guest, and it has been amazing to see her transformation. For those of you who are considering skin removal or maybe just at the beginning of your weight loss journey, highly suggest you follow her. She's a very inspirational person, and she is a great example of what you can do when you do decide to take control of your life and be in charge of your destiny. As always, I hope you learned something new, and please continue listening to keep learning new things over time.